All right, so we got this one. It's called Room 4. We got Slender Man question mark.
Hmm.
We got Late Night Laughter. Just keep in mind which one you want to pick. I haven't read any of these, so we'll be experiencing it together.
Let's go into the Slender Man one because I actually like kind of have some personal Slender Man stuff I can work into it.
Okay, okay. I don't know shit about Slender Man, so we'll read the story and we'll see what happens. So I literally just Googled scary stories, and this one's 10 real life scary stories. So this, I guess, it's real life scenario. So it was near the end of high school, 2006 ish. How old was I in 2006?
I
I think I was in
we're about the
elementary
same. We're about
school.
the same age, so we would have been like nine,
Yeah, probably elementary
eight,
school for
eight, 8 or
sure.
9. Yeah.
Okay, so it was fall in northern Wisconsin, perfect stomping around town weather. One Friday after school, I was over at my on/off high school boyfriend Jay's house playing video games or whatever. Around 7 p.m., we typically would meet up with our whole crew at a local restaurant, but we still had several hours to kill. We were getting bored, missed those days, and it was so lovely out. So Jay suggested we go walk the train tracks on the west side of town. That's never a good suggestion. Stay away from train tracks. That's where bad shit happens. I feel all the time. The town has been built up so much since then, but at the time there was only a fleet farm and a small burger joint near the tracks, and that was about it. Miles of woods on either side surrounded the tracks. As it was perfect weather and that doesn't last long in Wisconsin, I agreed, and we jumped in his car and drove across town. We parked his little car to the side of the burger joint. At this point, it's late afternoon, about dusk, sun about to set. We hop out of the car, walk about a block where the train tracks cross the street, hook a right down the tracks to the woods. That area didn't get as many trains going through as different sets of tracks in town. There was also plenty of space to the left and right of the tracks, slashed into the woods if a train did approach. It seemed safe. You could see maybe a mile in each direction if a train was coming, and to either side, just tall pines. We're walking down, balancing on the tracks, talking shit, jumping over stuff, whatever, for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Up ahead of us, we could see a few boxcars off to the side of the tracks. This feels creepy, but it was normal. As we approached them, we could see there was two boxcars attached to each other, maybe another 10 to 20 feet, and then a single boxcar behind them. I got the heebie-jeebies as we approached the boxcars, but they were both shut. So as we peeked around on them, climbed up, etc., they were less menacing. Cool. We keep walking. Sun is now down and it's twilight. Quiet. We were both looking down as we walk past the boxcars, balancing and such. We get past them, maybe another length of a boxcar, when I just have the sense to look up. That's when I see it. I stopped short. I swear the hair on my arm stood up, and suddenly I felt like a prey animal that had been spotted. That's a terrible,
That's scary. Just that statement. That statement is scary.
yeah, for sure. Jay, what's up there? There's someone on the tracks. He stopped and looked up. What looked like maybe half a mile to a mile down the tracks, standing directly in the middle of them, was the shape of a person, or what I thought was. But for how far away it is, the figure was unnaturally tall, standing stiff and still, arms at sides, with what looked like the shape of a bowler hat or something. I can still picture it. Now, Jay doesn't fuck around with ghost stories and alien tales. He's a non-believer, but he saw it too. We need to go, he said. He grabbed my hand and spun me back to the direction we came from. We were walking very briskly, but if you have ever been on train tracks, you know it's all small rocks and pebbles, so it's a little rough. That shit's fucking annoying. You fucking gonna break your ankle on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
About a minute passed, my heart was pounding, and I looked back over my shoulder. This person, who was originally about a mile away, was so much closer. It's like he suddenly jumped half the distance between where he originally was to where we were. Fuck no, I'm beating feet back to the fucking whip, and I'm out. No shot. No shot. Fucking knees to chest. Jay, you better keep up, son. Or I'm tripping Jay, and it's like the lion thing. If you're getting chased by a lion, you only get to outrun the person next to you. Now I'm outrunning Jay. See you, bud. It's like he suddenly jumped half the distance between where he originally was to where we were. But still, the same sickeningly tall, featureless shadow with a hat, standing still, arms to sides, stood still in the middle of the tracks. Jay, I actually screamed, making him whip his head around. I've never seen this guy scared. He grabbed my hand tighter and broke off into a sprint. Jay is about 6 foot and I'm 5'4". Swiss stride is a bit longer than mine. Damn, he hit the I'm gonna beat your ass.
He hit that 4-3.
See ya. Um, a couple years prior, I recovered from a fractured knee and a femur. Ooh, and it's common knowledge I cannot run. If you've ever seen the cartoons with someone running and the other person is kind of flapping behind the runner, held by the hand, that's what I felt like. He took off. My legs moved, but my toes barely skimmed the tracks. We ran past the box cars off to the side, and as we're about to get past the two that are hooked together, I stole one more frantic look over my shoulder. There he was, one boxcar away. Same weird proportions, like a dark, opaque shadow. I swear my eyes bugged out of my head, and my body and adrenaline said, "Get the fuck out of here." I forced my legs down and pushed my own damn self into a run. Boy, I couldn't imagine. I'd fucking about to pee myself just thinking about it. Maybe I just gotta pee.
It's that to break the seal.
Yeah, I hate to see it. We plowed forward, no more glances back, hooked back into the street, and frantically fumbled our way back into his car, slamming and locking the doors behind us. I remember both of us sitting there panting and staring forward for a good minute or two until snapping back to it with a "what the fuck." The sun went down and nothing could be seen towards the tracks. We went to our hangout with the crew at 7, chomping at the bit to tell everyone what happened. No one believed us or cared, really. Told my dad later on, and he says so many people died building that railroad, it was probably a ghost. Thanks, Dad. Fast forward to maybe 2011-ish. So this is what, 7 years later? I'm in college. Jay and I break up and don't keep in touch. I get a text from him out of the blue, a link to that Slender Man game. I remember sitting in my dorm with a chill as I watched the preview and felt sick to my stomach. How he only moves toward you when you aren't looking and is frozen staring at you when you look back. Uh, I read the
You ever
Wikipedia
play that
page.
game?
No,
Scary.
absolutely not. I read the Wikipedia page and creepy pasta and all that shit. I know all this stuff is made up, but the similarity to what we experience freaks me out. Present day, I looked up the chunk of railroad where it went down in my hometown on Google Maps. It's much more developed with shopping and housing around, but there's still a little stretch surrounded by trees, which is the one we walked down. I'm going back for Thanksgiving and was thinking about taking a jaunt to the tracks, but reading all these spooky stories made me change my mind. Just in case it is some entity, I don't want to take it back with me.
Nah.
Oh, hard pass.
No, I mean,
You picked a decent one there.
Slender Man is scary. Like, Slender Man's a scary dude. Like, there's been so many things with like that story was just nuts. I can't imagine like when she saw the game, or I can't remember if was it a dude or a girl.
It was a girl.
Okay, I thought it was a girl. I thought it was a girl, but I didn't want to assume. But yeah, I mean, when she saw the game, like that game is scary. And if that's what she saw when she saw the like, if that's what she saw in real life, then she saw the game. Yeah, I'd be terrified. So that game was like, it was one of those games. Like I had it on mobile, so you would like essentially put your headphones on, and you would want to play it in the dark. That was the point of it. And you would like move around, and then Slender Man would pop out, and it'd be so scary because like the sound would be just gets you in it, and then it would just keep moving towards you. But yeah, Slender Man is nuts. There's been like some things like I don't know if you saw the story about like the girl that like killed her friend, like young girl, like 8-year-old girl that like killed her friend and said Slender Man told her to do it.
Fucking hell.
So I have like my own personal Slender story, which like since we've like got on in this episode, I thought I only had like one story, and I have like 10. So
What you got?
not 10, but like, I have a few more. So this is like my sophomore year of high school. Me and Ty would hang out a lot. We mentioned Ty, so like Ty was one of our close friends in our high school years. We're not as actually we're not close at all, but you know, shout out Ty if you're watching. Still fucks with you. But yeah, Ty, his older brother was taking a picture or something, and like something that looked like Slender Man was in the background. And then right after that, just a bunch of weird stuff started happening. So his little brother had like an imaginary friend that he kept talking to like a lot. And it was like, it was creepy. And he was telling me about it. And he was like, bro, this is weird. Like, I think it's a ghost. And then like he said, like he'd be at home alone and like some stuff like just like fell off like the wall or something, like a picture or something, and it was freaking him out. And like I didn't know if he was bullshitting or not. Well, one night he comes over to my house and he's staying the night, and we're sitting in my room just chilling, just hanging out. And my door is latched shut, it's closed. That motherfucker swings all the way open. And like, my brother lives in the house, so we're like, oh, it's Logan. He's messing with us. So like,
bastard.
We like look out the door, and like we go into Logan's room, and like Logan's like asleep. So we're like, maybe he's faking it, but like we didn't like want to wake him up just in case he wasn't. So we just like went back into like we closed it. And I swear, like 5 seconds later, it swings open. And this door is not like partially open, like this, especially the second time. Like we made sure that door was shut, and it just flew all the way open. And we're just like, hell no, nah. Like hell not. Like whatever this is, it's got to stop. Like
how you gotta go, dude.
Well, I can't remember what it was. Like I can't remember if his brother had like a weird stuffed animal or something. I think that's what it was. But I was like, you gotta get rid of this imaginary friend. Like I was like, you
burn
have
that shit.
I was like, you gotta get rid of this shit. And after that night, nothing ever happened again. But it was weird. Like the door just flung open. Nobody else was in the house. I mean, like
nobody about it.
Yeah, we asked Logan about it the next day, and he was like, nah. And like Logan really like, that's not something Logan would do.
No,
like he can bullshit sometimes, but he's not like, I don't know.
He's not a very good liar either.
And he's not like social enough, I think, to pull a prank with a friend, like one of my friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, I don't think it was Logan. Like I think there's something going on here. And yeah, I that's when it started my belief of like ghosts being a possibility. And then like the punk and theater thing like made it where I think it's more likely. Like obviously I think it could still be bullshit, but I don't like when stuff happens like so much, like there's only so long you could deny it.
There's only so many things you can contribute it to being. Like at that in that point, it's either Logan or the fucking AC's up too high, but like it's gonna blow your door open. Like
come on. I've never had a door just like fling open, like a latched door.
Yeah, you got a jet turbine for an AC. Like come on.
Yeah, nah, there's no way. Like it had to be something like that. Another thing I was thinking of, and this isn't so much of a story, but it's like a scary thing. Well, it's a story, but not like a story involving me. So like in Oklahoma, like, there's a big Native American population, and they come with their own kind of scary stories. And I remember one of my old friends, Silas, shout out Silas, the roommate I was telling y'all about. I ain't gonna hate on Silas too much. We had some good memories. But one story
just kidding.
I mean, I don't love you, but I mean, like, you all right. I don't hate you. There was a story he was telling me about like a Native American, like old, like kind of folk tale. It's called the Little People. So basically what these little people were is they would like, it'd be like the dark, like kids would be out in the dark and they would see these flashing lights, and they would, it's you're a kid, even as an adult, you see like some flashing light in the distance, you kind of want to check it out and see what it is. Well, like they would do that, so like the kids would see it, and then the light would go away, and then the kids would see it again, like maybe another day, and the light would go away, but they would get closer, and it would keep going to the point where they lured the kids all the way out to where the light was, and they would kill the fucking kids. And it was like supposedly like these little people, like little, like not humanish, you know what I mean, like maybe dwarf type people. And I guess Silas said he was out for some reason. They were playing hide and go seek at a cemetery, he said, and like he saw those lights, and he was like, I know it's little people. And like I believed him, like I really did, because it's actually a really like, it's a really scary thing. But yeah, they would just lure kids out there. And
speaking, you just reminded me too of another one, similar native, not similar, but another Native American thing. You ever heard of Deer Woman?
Oh yeah, Deer Woman's like the number one, like well-known one.
I got the Wikipedia.
I guarantee you, like anybody who's watching this that ain't from Oklahoma doesn't know about Deer Woman, but
Bro, I'm not convinced I seen this shit. Like utterly convinced. So it's a or dear lady. It's a spirit Native American mythology whose associations and qualities vary depending on situation and relationships. To women, children, and men who are respectful of women and children, she is associated with fertility and love. I remember seeing her when I was like very young. However, to those who have harmed women and children, she is vengeful and murderous, and known to lure these men to their deaths. She appears as either a beautiful young woman with deer feet or a deer. I remember seeing like some weird shit when I was a kid. Like I don't remember where I was at. I just have this like very weird vague memory, almost like a memory flash of it. And uh so deer woman stories are found in multiple indigenous American cultures, often told to young women, children, or by young adults. And the communities of these tribes, Ponca, which is the one fucking immediately where we're at.
yeah. Like our town is Punk City.
Yeah, come on now. So, some traditions and stories describe the sighting of Deer Woman as a sign of personal transformation or as a warning. Deer Woman is said to be fond of dancing and will sometimes join a communal dance unnoticed, leaving only when the drum beating ceases. I had fucking none of that. I was out somewhere. I don't remember who I was with, but it was in like a wooded area, and I remember seeing like a woman out there. And I'd heard of Deer Woman at this point, so I was like, "Oh, that's fucking it." I was, nope, fucking feed it out of there.
Deer Woman, I
So
heard a lot of people see Deer Woman when they're driving.
yeah,
Like
I've
just
heard
pop
that.
up out in the middle of the road. So like anytime I'm driving, especially on the highway around here between towns, like my girlfriend lives in like a different town for the time being. I
Ain't
get
stopping
scared.
for nothing.
I get yeah, I'm not stopping. And if I got a flat tire, I'd be terrified.
I hit a deer. I'm fucking. I'll keep it moving. I don't give a shit.
It's a scary drive between these towns when you know Deer Woman's out there. Like Deer Woman's a genuine fear for a lot of people.
I mean, you got to think too. There's so many like fucked up shit that's happened on that land, like on these lands. You know, with
Mm,
all the Native American deaths, the wars between Native tribes, the Trail of Tears, people dying. Um, it's it's a very sacred and like fucked up land at the same time. And you know, if you're even if you are native, like it's still weird. Like I remember another small little tangent. I was with Martin
mm-hmm.
and we was so he's part of the Tonkawa tribe, and Tonkawa like their sacred animals like the turtle. The turtle, it doesn't have anything to
I did not
but
know that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure. Nick, you better get your shit together.
I went wrong pipe.
But so like I think we was driving to Tonkawa, and I remember this fucking like it was like a falcon or some big ass bird, owl, I'm not sure, but it literally fucking nosedived our car and like right and like literally came up and like spread its wings over the fucking windshield and like took off. It was the it was fucking crazy. And he was so fucking shook. Like I've never seen him so shook. Like Martin really ain't scared of shit. Like really, he's really not.
Yeah.
Like the crazy shit that he's done, but like he was shook. And I'm pretty sure the tonk wall, like they don't fuck with like birds. Like they don't pick up bird feathers. Like they don't fuck with that shit. I don't know if it's like a certain bird or something, but it was like a really big deal to him. So like Native American lore and culture is like very, very interesting, and
It's kind of it's creepy at a lot of times. Like
it's also yeah, like outside looking in, it is very creepy, but
especially if you're not native, like
yeah,
in like
exactly.
I
And
mean
you're
like
like,
because like in a way like you're a trespasser and
absolutely,
your ancestors have done. I mean, I don't care. Like, I mean, where you're from. If you're not Native American, your ancestors at some point have probably done something not cool to the Native American people.
good
And
chance.
I don't know how that works, but you don't know. Maybe maybe they could punish you for something like an ancestor did.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't know. It's a scary feeling, especially when you're not, part of that. that culture. I mean, which everybody who lives around here probably has some form of Native American in them. Probably.
Good, yeah, it's a good chance. Or they got some weird fucking story or interaction.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
almost impossible to like live in like native lands and not have something happen to you in your lifetime. Almost impossible.
Have you ever experienced sleep paralysis?
I don't think so.
So like
Hold
sleep
on. Before you get into this, I have to pee.
oh, so do I.
All right.
We'll just cut. Yeah. I fucking did it again.
It's fucking stupid.
Fucking did it again.
What?
Like
Open another. Open.
yes, I opened 2 beers at a time again. I definitely am drunk at this point because I've done it twice.
Nick, you should have got you a Luigi onesie. We could have been fucking twinning it.
Dude, he should have told me.
He was like, "Yeah, I'll dress up," and then I was like, "All right, he's gonna get something cool." And then
I
Cat
completely
was like,
forgot.
"Cat was like, hey, he should have got a Luigi one." And I was like, "That's a great fucking idea." Next year,
Yeah, I mean, I haven't dressed up for Halloween and like, dear Lord.
this was my costume for my Halloween party last year. I was fucking wrecked. You know, a little off topic. Have you ever have you ever farted so and it smelled so bad you like almost throw up? Did that happen to me earlier?
I mean, it's happened not often, but it has happened, especially after I've ate like some weird, not weird shit, but like I've ate a lot of
It
random,
happened to me
like a
earlier.
mixture of things.
I was in my kitchen and I was like making my daughter a bottle and I farted. She's like,
Dear Lord, man.
oh my god! It might be the worst fart I've ever had. It
Ain't
was bad.
ain't nothing worse than like having to fart in a place where you can't fart.
Actually,
Or
I gotta
like
fill up my water bottle. Another time out.
another time. Let's see.
We might be the most unorganized show on the internet. I love it.
I'll cut some shit out. It'll look more professional. Not very much more professional because I don't got that much time to go through like 4 hours of footage. But
You gotta cut nothing. I don't give a fuck.
we'll
We're
just
for
let
the
it.
we're for the common people. All right, we're not real.
Remember like the first few episodes where we just like, oh, we're both getting up, take a piss, and we
Yeah.
just let it just sit there. I've started cutting that stuff out, but also I think we've done a good job of like either we both get up one at a time, or like when we do that, like that's where we cut it. It's a learning experience. We're figuring things out. We get better every week. I feel like.
Those fucking beers I was drinking, like, it left like a weird film on my teeth.
Yeah, sometimes I get that
I
feeling.
don't like it.
Uh,
Feels weird.
so
All right, I got another story. This one's called The Servant. I didn't read it. This one, the name kind of sounded interesting. So, all right. I went to a small college for women tucked away in a quaint New England town. There's always some weird shit going up there. In my second year, I was lucky to get a spot in one of the oldest dorms on campus, a stone building that students called the Castle, covered in gargoyles and ivy and twisting turrets. It was built in the early 1800s. The rooms themselves had been modernized, quotations, but it still felt like living in a gothic fever dream. As a 19-year-old romantic, I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I'll pass on that. I was surprised to get a room in the castle. When it was my turn to pick, and I saw that room available, I thought I had really lucked out. It was the smallest room in the building, but I still grabbed it without hesitating. I moved in the following September, and things were going great at first. I loved my classes, and I'd made good friends in my first year. But within a few weeks, I couldn't shake the feeling that my life was on a downward spiral. Sometimes I sat in my room and just cried for no reason. I thought about how hopeless my life was, that I was never going to make anything of myself. I feel the same way sometimes. Part of me knew that none of this made any sense. I was a straight A student at a good college, had a family and friends that supported me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was doomed. Whenever I went to class or hung out with friends on campus, I felt better. But every night when I got back to my room, the sadness would eat away at me. Soon I'd become convinced that my outside life was just distracting me from the true hopelessness of my situation. Jesus, that sounds terrible.
it just sounds so depressing so far.
Oh, but it makes me I want to stop reading. I began turning down my friends' invitations just to stay in my room and cry. Oh, hell no. Jesus. I skipped class to sleep. I was in so much mental pain, I even started to self-harm by cutting. Fuck. I'd never done this before. It may sound hard to believe, but when I was in this room, there's no way to convince me that my feelings of hopelessness weren't valid. I was doomed. I knew it in the depths of my soul. My friends noticed how bad things had gotten and gently suggested that I should visit counseling service. Fuck, I got the goosebumps riding up my back. I refused until one day something happened that convinced me to get help. I was sitting on the bed in my dorm room trying to study. I hate it. Instead, I couldn't stop crying. The pain inside me was so great, I was tempted to self-harm by cutting just to make the inner turmoil stop for a moment. I closed my eyes and suddenly, with great clarity, saw a girl sitting on the bed in front of me. She had brown hair that hung to her waist, and she was looking down at something, so I couldn't see her face. Nope. Then her eyes shot up toward me. She was crying and snarling all at once, the nastiest face I'd ever seen a human make. Her arms were covered in blood, and an overpowered feeling that she wanted me dead. I opened my eyes and sprung out of bed. A heavy mood hung over the room. The bed was empty, but I could tell she was still there. I'd never believed in demons or evil spirits, but this was a feeling of absolute hatred that I can only describe as pure evil. I left my room and went to the RA. Suddenly, I knew that I had to talk about how I'd been feeling. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done. I told my RA about the depression and hopelessness and self-harm. Talking to someone lifted a weight that I hadn't realized I was carrying. But I didn't mention the ghost girl on my bed. When I stopped talking, I expected the RA to send me straight for counseling, which I did end up doing eventually. Instead, she asked if I knew about the history of that room. She didn't want to scare me by telling me before, but given what was happening, I had a right to know. Way back in the early 1800s, the college had a program for students from low-income families. They could attend the college for free, but they had to work as servants to the richer kids. My room was reserved for students in this program. One year, the girl who lived there was relentlessly bullied by her richer classmates, whom she was forced to serve as a maid. The stress got to be too much, and she flunked out of her classes. When the college asked her to withdraw, she slit her wrist in her dorm room bed, dying by suicide. I stayed with a friend until student life could find me another room. As soon as I left, the depression lifted, and to this day, I'm convinced that if I had stayed, I would not have made it out alive.
This story has really freaked me out, actually. But
These are
especially
some
when she said
fucking.
she first saw the girl, I was like, oh my god.
These are some hitters. I like this website. I'm trying to find another one that I'm just kind of like reading the end to see if it this one's called Room 4. Sounds kind of interesting. All right, so we got Room 4. It's Slender Man. Late Night Laughter.
Okay.
I'll let you pick the next one.
Late night laughter actually sounds like it's actually really scary, but it sounds like not a scary title, so we should go with that one.
All right. Stand by.
Man, this man hitting this babe. Getting that liquid in his lungs. He's gonna have pneumonia.
Shut your bitch ass up, Nick. You know my dad.
You're not my dad.
You're not my dad. She needs some milk. All right. This one better be good, or you're banned from picking ever again. Just kidding. Just over 10 years ago, I was fresh out of college and had moved back to my parents' house for the rent-free / food for 9 months before I was leaving the state for graduate school. To earn some scratch, I took a part-time gig doing some light bookkeeping for a small business owner that my dad knew. Okay, checks out. Solid story so far. They had a business where you could rent low-level farm equipment, small mom and pop type thing in the sticks. It's a bad sign already. It's always out in the sticks.
Yep.
Since they knew my family, they trusted me to go in there for about 15 to 20 hours a week and check and file the rental forms, make sure nobody missed a payment date, answer an email or two discussing prices / availability, etc. Super easy gig. The old building where I worked was about 90 years old and at the top of this little hill. And that's it right there. The downstairs used to be an old country bar until the 1970s. I could work any hours I wanted to as long as the work got done. So I'd usually go in after 7 p.m. and stay until around midnight or 1 a.m. since I knew I'd be alone and could listen to music loud and take my time. The office was on the second floor of the building and it looked out onto the long driveway. One night during winter, it had snowed a few inches, but I was desperate to get out of the house, so I went into work at about 8 p.m. I always left the gate open at the bottom of the hill since, believe me when I say that, nobody ever showed up at night. We were literally in the middle of nowhere. To even turn onto our short road, you had to only be coming to our specific building and know it was there beforehand. That sounds way out there. So I was jamming away to some Fall Out Boy. Everyone makes mistakes when they're young. And having some coffee. Hey, I like Fall Out Boy. All right, come on.
They all right.
Yeah, come on.
They got a couple good songs.
Yeah. And I kept glancing at the snow outside as I worked, since our one orange street light reflected onto the ground at the gate and was causing the light to shine off the snow in a really cool, dare I say, beautiful way. Around midnight, I went downstairs to do my bathroom business and came back upstairs and got settled back into my work. I probably did about 5 minutes of work when I glanced outside and saw a huge imprint of something in the fresh snow just before or just below the orange light. It seemed like a huge dog of substantial animal had just rolled around on the ground there on its back or something. Fuck no. Since I didn't notice it just 15 minutes before, it had to have happened while I was in the bathroom. I shook it off and assumed it was an animal, was attracted to the light or something. You know, in this situation, you know, Dad, what would you do?
Yeah, I really don't know because I ain't been in a situation like that.
I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Supernatural, so shit got me fucking. I'm salting the doors, and
It's a fucking werewolf. Or what? I
yeah,
don't know if they have on Supernatural. They might have other stuff. I don't. I've never watched it.
they got werewolves on Supernatural.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be kind of freaked out. I don't know how to combat those types of things though. I've never done my research on it.
I'm locking the fucking door and calling for help.
I mean, yeah, that's probably like my best course of action. The most
well, depending on how far up you are, the window is an escape route. I'm jumping.
Well, and it sounds like they're like a ways out, kind of. So you might be waiting on help for a while.
And then it snowed, so
yes, you're in a very. I don't know how much you actually can do in this situation.
I'm definitely not going outside or leaving the room. I'm sleeping there. All right, we ball. At around 2 a.m., I was leaving. Nope.
That's where you fucked up.
You done fucked up, kid. I was leaving and got out of my car to lock the gate. And to be honest, I'd pretty much forgotten about the imprint in the snow. But when I looked down, I was shocked to see that it wasn't just some disturbed snow, but it was undeniably the imprint of a human-made snow angel. I used to make snow angels when I was a kid, and they're also very recognizable, so I 100% knew for sure that's what it was. And it was deliberately made underneath the light post, but it wasn't from a kid. It was from a very large person. And I already knew whoever made the snow angel could easily have looked up and seen me through the window, so they must have waited for me to head downstairs to the bathroom to make this angel. Fuck, no. See, that's why you got to bring the blickies with you know what I'm saying?
Hell no. I would be so freaked out if I saw a snow angel in at this position.
You got the dual gats and the shoulder holsters. I'm fucking. We blasting 100%. That no.
Quick draw.
I fucking pull the strap, and then you look around real quick, and you get in your car, and you get the fuck out of there. Maybe pop a little desk pop, scare something away. Fuck around, find out. In case it's maybe a real person. If it's a spirit, you ain't gonna do much. But, anyways, no cars had pulled up to our building. I would have seen/heard them even from the bathroom. So I glanced around for footprints in the snow and saw that there was one set that had led to the nearby woods to the right of the building. No. Hard pass. See, that's why you need the blicky.
have it on you.
Keep that motherfucking thing on you. It was clear the person didn't use the road, but instead came from the opposite side. Did you just drink both of those?
Yeah.
You know my story, Dick.
Jesus Christ.
I was like looking over here and I see you out of the corner of my eye. I was like,
I thought that was gonna be like, I was like, this is gonna be like a funny Easter egg. Me like,
I see both hands. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, geez, that's gotta be like at least the top 5 funniest thing that's happened on this podcast so far.
You're not alcoholic.
But let's keep it pushing. We're gonna get flagged for nudity. Knowing YouTube and their rules.
Sue me. All right. All right, I'll reread the lessons. It's clear the person didn't use the road, but instead came from the opposite side, which instantly made me uneasy, since that side was just trees and darkness for miles and miles. By now, I was freaking out, trying to get back in my SUV. And that's when I heard it. Before I could get inside, I heard loud, high-pitched laughing coming from the woods. No. It almost sounded like a fake laugh, like the witch in The Wizard of Oz. Like something was doing it fake on purpose. It was close enough that I knew they could see me, but I couldn't see them at all, since other than the streetlight I was under, there was no illumination. So you put the strap and you just start busting busting off in the woods.
You ever seen Malibu's Most Wanted where he's just like on top of that car, just
You pull a Uzi out underneath.
you're just shooting wildly.
You got air that motherfucker out. After a few seconds of laughing, they stopped, and then it was just silence everywhere, except for my heart beating through my ears. Then the laughing started again, though louder this time, more like screaming and laughing combined. I sort of froze for like 5 seconds, listening in a panic. You see, that's how people die, you know. People you freeze. Now I spent a lot of time in that area, and I know that coyotes and foxes sounded alike at night with their high-pitched screeches during mating season, but this was very human. It felt like it was an adult man trying to emulate a woman laughing, like someone was deliberately trying to make a fake scary shriek laugh in order to scare someone. Well, it fucking worked. After 5 seconds, I immediately filled up with adrenaline, got in my car, and drove the hell away from there as fast as I could without sliding off the road. I worked there another 6 weeks or so and never had a single issue, though I knew that where my boss kept his gun, and I always made sure it was there when I started my shift. I certainly always locked the gate from then on. Ooh, that one is good.
Hell nah. I mean, is he having some? Nah.
That one was good. All right. We still got room 4.
Let's go with room 4. Actually, let's just go with room 4. I feel like we've been skipping over it.
I feel like it's the first one. Watch, this is like the best one.
We keep skipping over. We got to go into room 4.
All right. I think these are from Reddit. Fresh out of nursing school, I got my first real job in a fairly large hospital in a department that I honestly never thought I would ever work in. Yeah, hospitals fucking terrify me, so this might be a good one. It was a 6-bed cardiac ICU with rooms that overlook the city capitol building. What does ICU stand for? It's like a
inpatient or something care unit? Critical, care unit.
Critical care unit, some shit like that.
Yeah, it's like you're in a bad position if you're in ICU.
You might not make it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a very nice unit, and I started out working 12-hour night shifts. It's always on the fucking night shift. See, scary shit comes out at night. That's why I don't go anywhere at night.
Yeah,
I'm scared of the dark. You know, a little hot take. I'm scared of the dark.
Like for real though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like I don't
like being out at night unless I'm like working. But like when I'm working, like I'm out on the flight line, so it's like, you know, there's people out there and shit.
See,
so
for me,
it's like I'm not working by myself.
I'm not necessarily scared of the dark. I'm scared of. I mean, I am, but it's more like I'm scared of not being able to see.
It's like what could be in the dark. Like, I think that's more so what it is. Like, you don't know what the fuck's out there.
Like, I just feel like I couldn't identify a threat. You know what I mean? Like you're defenseless in a way. Like you don't know, especially if they know where you are. That's the worst part. If they're more prepared than you are, then yeah, you never know if they are or not.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna buy a pair of night vision goggles and so all times.
I'm gonna get a strap. That's what I'm gonna do.
Get the blicky. Anyways. The hospital I worked at had 4 other ICUs that were always full, so my unit always ended up being code bed, meaning if someone was arrested or went downhill fast somewhere around the hospital, they came to us. I'd been working there for a year, and I was no stranger to death. That's not a good sign. Each patient of mine who had died on my shift was usually already on their way out. Their families were by their side, the DNR order was signed, the funeral home was already picked out. It was rarely ever a surprise. In fact, the only time I was ever needed to do CPR on my shift, it was not even in my department. So I went on a nice long 2-week vacation, got engaged, and had a beautiful tan. My first night back, why the fuck nobody cares about your tan? Why is that even in the story? This fucking irrelevant information. All right. On my first night back, I received a report from the day charge nurse. She said she was off for a few days and suggested to remind the next day charge nurse that the priest was coming in the morning to bless room 4. Also not a fucking good sign. I thought she was kidding at first, but she was serious. Apparently, while I was on vacation, every patient who was admitted to that room had died. Nice. But this came as no shock to me people died often in our department, and it would being a very religious institution, having a chaplain for almost every department, I just shook it off. Then she said that room 4 was empty and that it would serve as code bed for the night. Around 2 a.m., I got a call saying that they would have someone to fill our open bed. The ICU downstairs was now going to be code bed. So we were getting your run of the mill chest pain, take a look in the morning kind of patient, nothing to get excited about. We get the patient admitted and all settled in room 4. He was a gentleman about 50 or so years old, very pleasant. His wife was with him and she looked dead on her feet. I got her some warm blankets and took her to our waiting room that had cots so she could get some rest. Around 3:30, so what was this, about an hour and a half later, I was watching monitors and the cameras in each room. All the patients were fast asleep. The cameras all cycled through about 3 seconds each on one small TV we had on the desk. Room 1 was fine. Room 2 was fine. Room 3 was fine. Room 4, there was someone in there. No, not my boy. You about to get fucking ganked.
Of course, room 5.
Yeah, it's it's hard out here.
Good title. I mean, like, yeah, no, well, you worked the title back in the story.
I don't like this one. It cycled too quickly for me to get a good look, and the doors to the unit were locked. Oh no. Maybe the other nurse let his wife back in? I walked down the hall and glanced inside. There was nobody. I shrugged it off. It was late. I was tired. I was probably just seeing things. I went back to the desk and continued watching the screen. Room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4. I was not imagining anything. There was someone in room 4. The person was standing in the corner by the window, their figure completely draped in shadow. I could not move my body. It cycled through again. This time it was closer to the patient's bed by maybe 2 or 3 feet. The hair stood straight up on my neck. The next time it cycled through, it was even closer. It stood in the light coming from the hallway, but despite the light, it was still shrouded in darkness. It cycled through again, and it was right next to the bed. Man, this bitch about to watch this man get fucking murdered by a spirit. Yo, kick that shit in. I don't like this one. It cycled through again. Okay, yeah, it was right next to the bed. My heart started pounding, and I could barely speak to the nurse on the other end of the desk. As soon as my words formed and I was able to make some kind of noise to get her attention, the alarm on the monitor went off, signaling that the patient had cardiac arrest. The overhead system came on. A cart is needed in the CCU room 4. People poured into the department, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, respiratory therapists. They all rushed into the room, but I couldn't move. It cycled through the rooms again. Room 4 came up, and this time the lights were on, and there were 10 to 15 people surrounding the bed doing CPR and slamming meds into his IV. Someone went to get his wife in the waiting room, but there it was in the opposite corner again. A dark figure watching the scene play out, just standing there. The man died of a heart attack. Room 4 was blessed that morning, right on schedule, and I put my 2 weeks notice in. Hey, boy, that was... give me the heebie-jeebies.
That shit, like, this is actually a weird coincidence, but like me and my girlfriend were talking about like similar thing last night because she was a medical assistant. Like she's in school being a nurse, but she's worked at nursing homes and she's worked at hospitals. And I guess when people die at nursing homes, they open the window and that's supposed to like free their spirit.
Yeah.
But at hospitals they don't do that. So that's why hospitals always feel kind of like haunted in a way. Because so many people have died there and they didn't open the window. I don't know how like true it is, but I mean it does sound plausible.
I cannot shake this like chill I got.
It was the last story where like, do you ever get like, where you're like listening to scary stuff or you're watching something scary and you're like, there's a ghost in my fucking house. There's some shit. That's kind of where I got. I was like, some.
I can't shake it, dude. I feel like I'm just cold.
Yeah, I mean, it's some scary shit.
I don't like it. Oh, I hate scary stuff. Oh, the things we do for the people that watch this show.
I love scary stuff because I like the thrill, like the being scared is a good feeling. I like anything like when I watch a show or something, like, if it's funny, I like a show that's so great it makes me laugh, or like it's so sad that I just feel so sad. And same thing with scary. Like if it brings like a real emotion out of me, I love it.
We fucking press on then. I guess we'll just fuck it. I'll just read all of these. These are pretty good, actually.
Hold on, I'm gonna take a piss real quick.
All right. Ah, holy shit. I don't like it. I don't like it. Shit kills me. I feel weird. Not a fan. Oh, I hate scary everything. I hate it. No, I don't like it. It's not fun. Not enjoyable for me. Oh, yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one. I don't know which one's the best one. I think probably that one or the Slender Man so far. They're both bad. I don't like it. I don't like it. I ain't gonna sleep tonight. So I'm pulling all nighter and go to work. Fucking watch. I'm having a nightmare tonight. And it's gonna be all you guys' fault because we're gonna make fucking Halloween episodes for your eyes. You hate it. I hate all of you. I hate all of you.
Are you mad because we're doing scary shit?
Yeah, I'm telling everybody to watch this video. I hate them because we have to make a Halloween episode, and I'm having nightmares tonight. So
I love scary stuff, but I
we're
mean,
doing this for you, and I
if
fucking hate you.
if it makes Jaden feel better, we're going into Christmas and stuff. We'll have happier happier times.
Shut up.
We'll have happier times.
If I make it to Christmas, all right. What if I got a cardiac arrest in my sleep? Okay,
Dear woman's gonna come and get
wouldn't that be some shit? Wouldn't that be some shit if I just happen to die tonight?
Better knock on some wood.
If something happens to me, God forbid, then after I read all these, then
nah, you'd be fine. I was actually I was at my parents' house earlier, and I was talking about like because I live by myself for like the next few months. Like if something happened to me, nobody would know until the next morning. Like nobody's like you like that's the downside of living by yourself. Like I was like telling my mom like there's some pros, there's some cons. Like I've only been able to live by myself for like a year pretty much. Like by the time I'm moving to my next place, it'll be like a year. And I just really wanted this year for myself. Like I really wanted 1 year where I could say I live by myself. It's always something I wanted to do. But there are some downsides. Like if anything happens to you, like let's say I just like trip and hit my head. There is nothing like nobody's gonna know. Like
start wearing one of them fucking life alert buttons.
My girlfriend ain't gonna know till like the next morning, and then at that point, it's probably already past some hours. I'm probably cold at that point.
I'm gonna fucking burn some sage in my house after this.
Man, should have done.
I'm gonna salt the doors and the windows.
Should have done it before the K-State game.
Should have. All right, this one's House of Horrors. Joy. It just keeps coming. It gets better. It's what am I doing? What am I doing with my life at this point? What? Oh God, I should have just went to college. I could be rich by now.
Nah, that's not true.
No, it's not.
You still be in college.
Still be in college,
just like me.
Miserable. We'd probably still be doing this. All right. It's the 80s. It's Halloween on a weekday, and I, being the oldest and a girl, am responsible for taking 2 younger brothers trick-or-treating, along with 2 young sons of my parents' friends. All right, so it's her and 4 kids. Oh, my parents and the kids' parents are at our house playing cards and smoking cigarettes. Okay, so weird information. Checks out, I guess. Having had a lot of babysitting responsibilities and chores that my younger brothers did not have, plus missing out on going trick-or-treating with friends, I was definitely bitter and ill-tempered throughout the evening. Because it's a school night, we're just doing the 3 blocks of my street and heading home. We make it down one side and back down the other, and are about 3 houses from home when we get to the house of an elderly woman who lives alone and never gives out candy. She's a witch. But for the past couple months, she's been renting the basement to some guy. I've seen him around a few times, and he either ignores me or yells at me for riding my bike on the sidewalk. Though he did seem to be pleasant and say hello to my brothers. Man, I'm like, fuck you, bitch. This is, public fucking sidewalk. Lick my butthole. So the guy is on the sidewalk with another guy. There's a folding table set up, and there's a notebook on it. Nope. It's a Death Note. You ever watch that anime?
No, but I the only reason I haven't watched it is the whole thing got spoiled for me.
It's still good. You should watch it. The men tell us that they don't have candy, but they're giving away prizes for anyone who goes through their haunted house. Fuck you. As they're explaining this, a few boys my age from school show up and ask what the prizes are. They list pocket knives, baseball cards, and the grand prize is a BB gun. The men tell them they need to fill out their names, age, addresses, phone numbers, and when's a good time to contact parents to get permission for the prizes. That seems quite a bit. The boys fill out their info quickly, and honestly, at that point in my life, I was excited about all those prizes too. Basically, all the houses on our street were the same. I knew the layout of the basement, and I did not believe the haunted house could possibly be that scary. My brothers and the two little boys were also excited to do it. I filled out my own info along with my brothers, and we're all about to head around the back to enter the basement door. Then one of the men says, "Girls aren't allowed." The boys from school immediately start laughing and lightly taunting me, and are joined in by all four little kids. Little bastards. I feel my face get hot and a lump in my throat as they all walk away from me. I'm embarrassed, humiliated, and seething with anger. The unfairness of it all, having to constantly be expected to babysit these brats, cook, clean, do laundry for $0, not even have a fun Halloween like a normal kid, and now I don't even get a chance to win anything. I want to flip the table over and destroy something. Then I get the idea to take that notebook, which has several pages of boys' contact info in it, and shove it into the sewer drain by the curb. If I can't win a prize, no one will. All right. Just then, another group of about 5 boys from my boy-heavy street come by and ask what's up. Again, no parents present because it's the 80s. I take a deep breath and calmly as possible explain about the haunted house, prizes, and writing their info in the notebook, which they all do right away. We hear the group come around the side of the house laughing and bragging that they weren't scared. The men wait till they finish putting their info in the notebook and then start talking to the new group back, or taking the new group back. They don't even notice I'm lagging behind. I grab that notebook and shove it in the sewer drain and get the heck out of there. The next day at school, it seems every boy in my class and maybe the whole school had done the haunted house, and each one thinks he will be the winner of some prize or another. I have a sense of satisfaction every time I hear them talk about it because I knew there will be no winners as the notebook is gone, never to be found. Man, what a dick. To me, it feels like justice, but I tell no one for fear of getting in huge trouble. About a week later, still no winners, and kids have moved on and stopped talking about it. Around mid-morning, our teacher gets called out to the hall to talk to someone for about 5 minutes and comes back looking wide-eyed and scared or something. Each boy in the class gets called to the office and does not return. They're getting killed in the principal's office.
I'm very curious to see where this goes.
The story's a little weird. As this is happening, the remaining kids have no idea what is happening until one boy, Scott, comes back and tells me everything. Apparently, Jimmy, a kid in the other 5th grade class, who was small for his age, but the fastest run in the whole school, was walking to school that morning and a guy tried to pull him into his car. Jimmy thrashed around wildly and kicked the guy several times as he was trying to pull him in. He eventually got away and ran as fast as he could down an alley and got to his grandmother's house because it was closer than school or his own house, and he knew she'd be home to help him. Jimmy recognized the guy who tried to kidnap him as the other one who had the haunted house in the basement apartment. All the boys in the school are being individually called to the office and questioned by the police. During the questioning, each kid mentioned the notebook, and so the police did not want any kids to be home alone, as most of us were after school because in our neighborhood, typically both parents worked. Damn, so they got the kids' addresses and everything to go kidnap them. That's crazy. The notebook basically gave the men a time frame of when kids would be home alone. When is a good time to contact your parents? Each kid filled out when a parent would be coming home from work, and the concern was that they'd have a guide of a good time to kidnap boys. Jesus Christ.
Hell no.
When Scott told me all this, I had an immediate sense of dread. and not because I was afraid boys would be taken from their homes while their parents were at work. I knew that could not happen because they didn't have the notebook, but I was truly afraid I would get in trouble for hiding it. Later, everyone found out that the police had gone to arrest the men, but they were not found. The apartment was searched and there was no sign of the notebook, but pictures were found. As a teenager, I was finally told the pictures were graphic and included violent child pornography involving young boys. Our whole town was on high alert, and many of us latchkey kids came home to our first babysitter. Ours was a high school student named Sharon, who was the youngest of 3 girls in her family, and she was wonderful. I slowly got over the nagging fear that the notebook would be fished out of the sewer and my fingerprints identified, and I fully enjoyed my time with her. For once in my life, I was not a servant and a second-class citizen to the boys in my house. She was kind to all of us, but she made it clear that I was her favorite. I never got to go to tumbling or gymnastics classes, because we didn't have extra money for that. But the first thing Sharon did with us on that first day was teach us all to do cartwheels. My brothers lost interest after that, but she went on to teach me front and back walkovers, back handsprings, and aerials/cartwheels with no hands. She painted my nails and fringe braided my hair. She would talk to me constantly, tell me about her teachers, her classes, friends, boyfriends, and listen intently to whatever grade school or family drama I had, asking questions or offering advice. She was exactly what I needed at that point in my life, and I secretly marvel at the series of events that brought her to us. She sat for us for close to 2 years. We got older and she needed to move on as well. This was pre-internet/Facebook, and sadly I lost touch with her. I knew that she'd moved out west and had done some modeling as well as some acting and was doing well. In my 20s, my mother called me in my apartment to tell me that Sharon had been brutally murdered in her home, stabbed over 30 times by a man she dated only a couple times who had been stalking her. Okay, that was kind of a terrible story, but I don't see how the babysitter really kind of like ties into that.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's just like some kind of bad shit happened to that same girl.
I think she was just like, I'm gonna throw this in here, but that was so just.
That was a lot of reading for fucking nothing.
It was kind of a genius plan by those people, though.
Yeah, honestly,
Like
that's crazy.
Like it's like I don't want to give them credit, but I mean that's like a like that's smart. I mean, like if you, that's some shit you're into doing, that's a smart idea.
Jesus, yeah, that's
terrible.
Some sick people out there.
There are definitely some sick people out there.
This one's called Our Daughter.
What's it called?
Our Daughter.
Our Daughter. Okay. For some reason, I thought it said Howard Hunter. I was like, that's a weird title. Our Daughter.
Okay. I don't think this one's as long. No, it's kind of a short one. We moved into a new house. We moved into a new to us house 6 months ago. There are 2 large bedrooms upstairs and 2 small bedrooms on the main floor. My husband and I take one of the upstairs bedrooms and our 2-year-old daughter in the other. I don't know if I want to read this one. I got a daughter.
I mean, if you don't want to, that's your thing. I mean, I wouldn't like fault you if you didn't want to put that bad energy into your life.
It's not that good. Well, let's skip it. I kind of skimmed it. Yeah, pass. This one's called The Black Dog.
I got a black dog. No, I'm just fucking.
Skip. I've had a black dog once. Next. So this story is pretty simple, but it always stuck with me. I grew up in the thick of Southern Appalachia. It's a weird spot. I never gave much credence to the old folk tales I heard, and there were plenty. I met my boyfriend when I was 16. Drugs had saturated our area. To party, we would ride down the mountain in his black Honda Civic, out the several miles of gravel road to the army camp at the river to party. Hell yeah. This particular night, there was going to be a meteor shower and we wanted to see it. We crept through the darkness, down the winding mountain, across the bridge, down the access road towards the river. I had been there 100 times. The night felt unreasonably dark, heavy almost. There were no real residences on this road that led right to the waters of the freezing New River. I was not really a believer of anything supernatural. I'm still really skeptical, but we were rumbling down the road and nothing seemed out of place until we saw it. In the road ahead, a black dog, not a wolf, but easily just as big. A Great Dane, if I've ever seen one, and I had not in real life. There are no residences, nothing around that would make you think that this expensive dog would be on this road. But there it stood in our headlights, and my boyfriend rolled to a stop as we looked at it. It was kind of postured. I don't know. It was illuminated by our headlights, hackles up in a way I'd never really seen. It just stood there. He beeped his horn and started creeping closer in the car. This dog did not care, was seemingly unconcerned. The closer we got, the more unreasonably unnerved I felt. It was just staring at us, like I could feel its gaze through the windshield, until it was practically against the bumper and it was not going to move. We were at a standoff. So my boyfriend went around. He painstakingly cut his wheels, went off the gravel road to go around this unmoving hulk of a black dog. If it was in the middle of the road, we veered off to the left of it, so it was on my side as we moved past. I remember how it stared at me. It was so tall that it was eye level with me in the passenger seat. I remember begging him to hurry past because there was this awful feeling that it was aware of my discomfort. I'll never forget staring into its shock yellow eyes right at eye level as we veered around. It stared at me, unmoving, unbothered. Then we just rolled around it. Its head didn't move. It didn't adjust its gaze as we continued. It disappeared into the inky darkness of the road, and I felt so cold, so upset. We got to the river, and I refused to leave the car. I had this unmistakable feeling that that thing was still out there, just beyond the trees, somewhere out in the pitch black. There was a meteor shower that night, and I barely watched it through the car's sunroof because all I felt was that gaze, those horrible yellow eyes. It was still out there. I never liked going back to the river after that. I can't even describe the sense of dread, the feeling of a thing being so out of place. I never saw it again, though.
Was that the whole story?
Trash. That was terrible. Yeah.
So I actually think that was just like a malnourished, like dog that was so hungry that like it didn't have the strength to change its gaze. I mean, yellow is not a good thing, and I think pretty much any creature besides like a cat, maybe. Like I feel like cats have yellow eyes sometimes, and that's normal. But like most other things, like that's not really normal. So they sound like kind of fucked up people. Like maybe you should have picked that thing up. But
let me see if I can find one more good one. Mm-mm-mm-mm. All right, fuck, let's go with this one. It's called the Eerie Attic.
Okay.
You got an attic in your house?
No, I do not.
Yeah, me neither.
I did it at my parents' house. Never went up there. There's a glass stall up there that my mom had for some reason.
All right. So before Reddit.com user Diggs Dawes got down to recounting their scariest of ghost stories about living in a place that was obviously teeming with honest to goodness members of the spiritual world, they pointed out the irony of ghost stories that begin with the phrase, "I don't believe in ghosts," but after all, no matter how a ghost story begins, it always hinges on the notion that, come on, of course we believe in ghosts. A few years ago, I moved into a one-bedroom apartment in Melbourne, Australia. They went on to recall, it was my first time living on my own. The apartment block had been built in the 1930s. I'd been there for a few months when I came home from work one day and went into the bathroom. I saw something strange, a wooden board, which had covered a hole in the ceiling that led to a small attic space, lay fractured in two pieces on the ground. I examined the pieces. The board was an inch thick and it would have taken Bruce Lee to break it. I thought the landlord had sent someone to work on the attic. I was frozen stiff with fear. Someone is up there for sure, I thought. I emailed pictures of the landlord asking if anyone had been there with an undertone of annoyance since she hadn't warned me. Her reply read, "Please call me as soon as you're able to." I called and she explained that her last two tenants had said the same thing had happened. She promised to replace the board and she did. A month later, I woke up one night around 4 a.m. My body was covered in goosebumps. It felt like someone was rubbing his or her hands on me. Everything was silent, but then I heard a dragging sound coming from above my bed. It was as if someone was pulling a sack of potatoes. I froze, convinced someone was up there. There's no way an animal could make that sound. After 5 minutes, I worked up the courage to turn on the light, arm myself with a cricket bat, and walk to the bathroom. That's when I saw that the new board covering the hole was broken in two. I felt sick. The dragging sound had stopped, but I heard something else, whispering. The sound was clear and coming from the attic. It sounded like children's voices, and I could hear one sentence repeated over and over. It's your turn.
Hell no.
It's your turn. I switched on every light in the apartment to make things feel normal. It was 5 a.m. and dark outside. I watched TV to try to unwind. Then a fuse blew. My pet Budgie, Dexter, I'm assuming that's a dog, whom I kept in the kitchen, usually never made a sound at night. It's a bird? What the fuck's a budgie?
I have no idea.
Anyways. But he started squawking. Okay, yeah, it's a bird.
Yeah, the bird.
But he started squawking like he was being strangled. I never heard him make those sort of noises. He was screaming. I grabbed my car keys, ran out, sat in my car, and waited there until someone came up. Damn, you left your fucking animal in there? That's crazy.
That's fucked up.
When I saw people walking their dogs, this comforted me enough to go back in. The front door was open, but I figured I might have forgotten to close it when I ran out. I went to the kitchen to check on Dexter, but he wasn't in his cage. I felt sick again. All my windows were closed, so I looked everywhere inside. When I walked to the bathroom, I heard splashing. Dexter was half drowned in the toilet. I took him out, washed him, and dried him. I was so confused. At 8 a.m., I called the landlord and gave her a watered-down version of the night. "Oh, wow, you heard the whispering too," she said. I stayed in that apartment for another 18 months. I heard the whisperings on a few occasions, and twice the board covering the hole in the ceiling moved. Although I live elsewhere now, the real landlord recently called. She said that her new tenants had begged her to speak with me about some of the stuff that's been going on there. Forget it. It's their problem now. Jesus.
So, this is just like another story, I feel like, of people just like neglecting animals. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how you feel about like your animals. Like, I don't actually personally have like, but like my parents do. Like, I grew up with like some of the animals they have at their house. I don't know. They feel like they're part of the family. Like, I wouldn't let some shit.
I'm definitely not leaving my animals behind.
I would not let something happen to them. You know what I mean? Like, or like I would try my best to not let something happen to them. I wouldn't just like, oh, that creeps me out. I'm just gonna fuck them. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
some people, man,
that's fucked up, man. I mean, like, I don't know. They're part of the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unreal.
So we went through our scary stories. I mean, we still got some time. I got till like 11. I mean, we're about Central Time, I think. Yeah, we're about Central Time.
Oh, we can fuck off the scary portion or keep going. It's up to you.
Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about. I made like notes. Sleep paralysis. Do you know what that is? At least.
Not really.
So
is it where you're like stuck?
Yeah.
Like
so I've been experiencing it since I was probably about 16. So the first time I had it, so basically what sleep paralysis is, if you don't know, it's like when you wake up from sleep, but like your mind wakes up before your body. So like your mind's all there, but you cannot move. And a lot of people say like it's like your mind can still partially be leaving like REM sleep, where you dream. So some people can like hallucinate things that aren't there because like their mind's still in that kind of dreaming portion of their sleep cycle, but your mind's like you're aware. Well, the first time it happened to me, I didn't see anything scary. I knew I was awake, but I could not move. Like it was scary because I was like, am I dead? Like I could not open my eyes. Like my eyes are closed, and then I swear it took like all the strength I had to open my eyes, and then I finally did. And it was mainly that way for several years. Like it doesn't happen often. Usually when it happens, it's like most of the time when it happens to me, it's like you go to sleep, when you wake up, like you have to go pee or something, then you go back to sleep. That's usually when it happens. In situations like that. And that's also when lucid dreaming happens to me. I'll wake up, go back to sleep, and then I'll lucid dream. I guess lucid dreaming and sleep paralysis are like very similar. Like usually if you experience one, you experience both, and I have experienced both.
Yeah.
But one time, like I would say like it had been like several years into me having it. I woke up and like you were talking about like a dark figure earlier. Like I saw like a dark figure. It wasn't like a solid body though. It was like just like a bunch of just like dark particles like that formed like a humanoid figure above me. I mean, at that point I had become pretty knowledgeable about sleep paralysis, so I chalked it up to being that, but it was definitely a freaky thing to wake up to.
Yeah, 100%.
And you can't move. Like you literally cannot move. Like what I've learned to do, and like the only thing that really helps is just moving my fingers. So you can move your fingers. I mean, I don't know how everybody is, but I can move my fingers. And then usually like by moving my fingers, it kind of like slowly wakes up my arms. And then once I can move my arms, I can kind of like move my arms to the point where it just wakes up my whole body. But yeah, it hasn't actually happened. Thank God it hasn't happened since I've been living alone, because that would just freak the shit out of me. It's happened at my girlfriend's house. Like one time, like I don't know, like she sleeps fucking weird. Like I'll just wake up with like her feet like driving into me or something. So one night, like I had just like I was like, I'm just going to the couch, and I slept on the couch, and like I could have sworn like I heard like voices, not scary voices, but just like I felt like I heard her talking to Zeke, our son, and I was like, I don't know, it didn't scare me until like I realized I couldn't move. And then I was like, I can't move. Like, surely they would like, I don't know. Like, I mean, he's 2, so he probably would have woken me up, you know what I mean? And I wake up finally, and like I pull myself up, and like nobody, like the lights are off. And I was like, oh my, like it feels so real when you're in that moment. Like I feel like at some point you'll probably experience it. I feel like most people experience it. Um,
I can't say I ever have.
it just has to happen in the right circumstances. Like it's happened less to me since like my teenage years, but it happens every now and then. It hasn't happened, I guess in like eight or so months. Thinking about
That's
it,
crazy.
it's a really scary thing. The first time it happened to me, I literally just thought I was like dead.
Physically dead.
But scary. Do we have anything more scary to talk about? We can talk about scary movies, I guess. I mean, if you want to, or we can just hop off of that if you're kind of done with scary stuff for the night.
No, I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm fucking scared out.
I love scary stuff, but Jaden is not.
I gotta go to bed soon. I ain't trying to. I gotta sleep.